Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Low on the Go. You know, I have been spending so many days and so many hours of just watching so many YouTube videos of girls doing thrift flips, revamping of their clothes, sewing projects, tie-dye projects, you name it. I have been watching it like a crazy person. I get such a high seeing like the before and the after. It's almost like that dopamine hit that I get from shopping. So I thought to myself,
I can do this.
I ran to my closet, sifted through my clothes, and I found our three main contenders. After spending hours on Pinterest and brainstorming my ideas with my mom,
who is the queen of sewing,
I think I devised a very good plan of attack on how I'm going to flip these clothes. Am I familiar with sewing?
yes,
But am I knowledgeable of the ins and outs and the do's and don'ts of sewing?
no.
This took me about 3 days to fully complete the project. I'm not that comfortable with the sewing machine. Also had some minor
Little mini meltdowns.
because if you're familiar with a sewing machine at all, you know when the fabric gets stuck or like when the thread gets stuck in the machine, you kind of freak out. So I had a few moments of that. I really wanted to make sure also that I did do things properly. I did a lot of pinning, a lot of ironing, a lot of measuring, a lot of making sure everything was symmetrical, and a lot of trying on. This girl was
Pantless?
or topless half the time. I mean, you're going in and out of your clothes so often, you're kind of just like,
Might as well just stay pantless through all of this.
okay, I'm joking, I wasn't. If I'm gonna do these sort of sewing projects, I really want them to turn out. I can't go shopping, can't go out in the world right now, and because I'm really tight with my budget, I'm not really shopping online. So these have to work for my summer looks. Okay, so let's give a round of applause to our three main contenders. I love the material and pattern on this kimono, but that's pretty much it. There was a time when I liked it more, but that time has passed. I couldn't really ever get rid of it, for it was fun to wear on vacation to hot climates or to the beach. But I'm bored. Can't go shopping, can't go thrifting, so to feed that craving, I have signed this guy up to be chopped. I needed to keep it easy to get in and out of, so I'm going to just keep the tie aspect. I never liked the tassels, so we're getting rid of them. The only difficult part are going to be the shoulders/sleeves. I don't love when the shoulder seam comes down on my arm. It feels very unflattering to me and looks sloppy. I want to bring the shoulder seam up and re-sew the sleeves back on. Essentially, my vision is a cute cropped tie cover-up, which will be perfect for a summer date or going out with the girls to shop or for a coffee. This skirt is already amazing. I love my plaid skirt. When I bought this, I was a little heavier, so it fit better at the time, but now not so much. You can see it's a little big. It needs to come in and sit on my waist. But since scrolling through Pinterest, I also noticed the look for plaid skirts are to have little cute slips on the front. But in my case, it will have to be on the side since that's where the seam is, and I'll get a better finished result. Even though I don't have a job right now, I still envision this skirt as a staple piece for the office. Maybe one day I'll wear it again, but if not, around the house will just have to do. I thrifted this last summer and loved it. Again, I was a little heavier last summer, so it did look better on me, but when I put it on now, I'm not feeling it. The material does have a great weight to it, and it's flowy and cool. I love the pattern, but the length is just not working for me, and I don't know if it's just me. I feel like my hips look massive in this, so I figured if I remove the pockets and shorten it, it may just be that perfect cute summer skirt for lounging around the house on a hot day. The first one up was the plaid skirt. The first thing I did was untack the waistband. This I used a seam ripper. I turned the skirt inside out, tried it on. I had to assess the amount I needed to take in. For me, it was about a 1 inch taken. I measured down from the bottom of the waistband to the spot where the skirt fit nicely. That was about 4 inches down. I took the skirt off and laid it flat on a surface with the side seams to the outside. I marked 4 inches down each side with fabric markers from the bottom of the waistband. To ensure the amount is taken in equally on both sides, I marked 1/2 inch in from each side seam at the top of the waistband. I marked a line from the top of the skirt to the 4 inch mark to create a gradual easing of the seam. I pinned along the mark line and followed with a large base to make it easy for me to try on for the size. I then sewed the new seam. I removed the basting thread very carefully with my seam ripper and cut away the excess material and finished the edges with a zigzag stitch. I tacked down the waistband by hand at side seams. For the cute little slit, I marked the amount to open the bottom of one side seam to create a slit. I then opened the seam to the mark with my seam ripper. I zigzagged the raw edges to prevent fraying of the material and pinned back the edges of the slit and sewed into place. And voila! Here is my new plaid mini skirt. I am so happy with how this turned out. The fit is perfection and it fits perfectly on my waist and through my hips. The slit just makes me so happy. It gives it that extra sass. So the first thing I decided was to eliminate the pockets. So I removed the pockets to eliminate that bulk at my hips. I turned it inside out and removed the pockets with my seam ripper. I ironed flat the opening sides together and pinned down the new seam. I sewed the two sides together and then zigzagged the edge to keep the material from fraying. On to shortening the skirt. To find the right length, you must try it on. Pin, measure, iron, mark, measure, measure, measure. I cut off the excess fabric, leaving about an inch to form a new hem. I was going for a smaller hem sewn on the machine as opposed to a wide hand-stitched blind hem, which was currently on the skirt and created a very heavy feel to the skirt. This way I would get a lighter yet flouncier skirt. I then removed the buttons and ironed down the front to create a flowier effect. And voila! Here is my new floral mini skirt. I am so thrilled that once the pockets were removed, it fixed the problem of giving me wider hips. The extra length cut off lightens it up, so it flows and sits perfectly around my waist. So for the kimono, the first thing I did was remove the fringe, and I just very carefully cut along the fringe. I then removed the sleeve from the armhole very carefully with my seam ripper. This material was very delicate and very fragile. I decided on the right length for the shoulder seam, and after digging through my mom's patterns, I found a template for a new armhole. I traced a new armhole, then cut out the armhole. The next step was to shorten the fabric from the back to crop at the waist, which was ideal to do because I knew before going onto the machine, I really wanted to make sure how this material sewed. I finished the edges of the crop with a zigzag stitch, then turned the hem under twice and stitched along the edge to secure it. I also did the same concept of finishing the hem with a zigzag stitch and also did a twice folded hem on the ties that had the fringe removed. Okay, so all that was left was for me to attach the sleeve back onto the shoulder. So I attached the sleeve to the arm opening by softly and evenly gathering excess material on the shirt. I pinned it first and then basted it into place. The arm opening on this shirt was larger than the fabric on the sleeve, which inevitably gave me kind of that little, I don't want to say puff, but that cute little gathering effect that's very in right now. I do apologize, but I didn't show the last two steps. Once the sleeves were sewn onto my shoulder, I turned it inside out, cut away the remaining material inside to eliminate any sort of bulk around my armpit/shoulders, and then I went around with a zigzag stitch to close off the material so that I could prevent any fraying from happening. And voila! Here is my new crop top for the summer. I cannot believe I was actually able to flip this. Sleeves and shoulders turned out exactly as I envisioned, and the crop is perfect. That tie just gives it such a fun
flirty look.
Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Which transformation did you like best? Which transformation were you kind of skeptical?
Is it gonna work? Can she do it?
I sure did. I myself am really impressed with how everything turned out. I was really nervous about the kimono. You know, there was a lot of things that could have went wrong with it. The material, because it was so fragile and thin, the lack of material, the too much of material, all in the weird places. I was really impressed with how that turned out. I love it. And probably the floral midi skirt, now a floral mini skirt. I'm actually currently wearing the floral skirt right now because I feel so good in it. I feel
Fun, flirty, sexy, you know, all of the above.
If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave any comments or questions. I love to hear from you guys. And subscribe. Subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit that little notification bell so you're always notified of a new episode from Low on the Go. So until next week, guys, stay safe, stay fresh, stay stylish, and I'll see you all next week. Bye!